My girlfriend said, "I don't like your kids." I replied, "I pick their goldfish first, not you." Then I ended the relationship, served her a formal notice to quit, protected my kids' home, and watched as her entitled games turned into a brutal wake-up call about non-negotiable boundaries. Welcome back to AR Tales. Today's story is about this moment. My girlfriend said, "I don't like your kids from your previous marriage coming over." As you listen, notice the exact point where you would have drawn the line. I am 35 and my name is Grant. My life runs on a very clear hierarchy. At the very top are my children, Leo, 8, and Sophie, 6. Below them is my career as a forensic accountant, which pays for everything. Under that comes my house, a colonial I spent 5 years renovating room by room. Somewhere further down that list was my girlfriend, Tiffany, 29. Tiffany and I had been together for about 14 months. She moved in 6 months ago. At first, it made sense. She called herself a lifestyle consultant, which in practice meant she made charcuterie boards, styled corners of the house, and filmed herself opening packages for strangers on the internet. She was charming, very put together, and at first she seemed to tolerate the chaos that comes with 2 elementary school kids. My custody agreement with my ex-wife, Claire, is 50-50. 1 week on, 1 week off. We are not best friends, we do not spend holidays together, but we co-parent well. It works. The friction with Tiffany started small, little comments about sticky hands, eye rolls about noise, a sigh when Leo left Lego on the coffee table. I tried to meet her halfway. I hired the cleaner to come twice a week instead of once. I pushed for earlier bedtimes on school nights. I enforced quiet time for iPads. I thought we were adjusting to living together. Looking back, I was being slowly trained to make my kids invisible. It all came to the surface on a Tuesday evening. I was in the kitchen prepping a lasagna. The kids were coming over the next day for my week, and lasagna is Leo's favorite. Tiffany was sitting at the island, scrolling her phone, sipping red wine that cost more than my first car. She put her phone down and let out one of those long, dramatic sighs that always meant a serious talk. "Grant," she said, "we need to look at the calendar." "Okay," I said, still layering noodles. "What's up, birthday party?" "No," she said, "it's about the kids coming over tomorrow." I paused. "What about them?" "I was thinking maybe you could swap weeks with Claire. Or maybe just take them out to dinner and drop them back at her place." I stopped layering. I wiped my hands on a towel and turned to face her. "Why would I do that?" I asked. "It's my week. They live here." She took another sip of wine and avoided my eyes. "It's just that I have a lot of content to shoot this week. I need the lighting in the living room. I need silence. Having them running around, leaving toys everywhere, it disrupts the aesthetic. It messes with my workflow." "They're in school until 3, I reminded her. "You have all day." "It's not just a day, Grant, it's the energy. I don't like your kids coming over this much. It makes the house feel cluttered, chaotic. If we're going to take this relationship to the next level, I need this space to feel like ours, not theirs. I think we should transition to them visiting every other weekend. Claire's the mom, right? She should be doing the heavy lifting." The air in the kitchen did not change, but something inside me dropped to absolute zero. It was not anger. Anger is hot. This was clarity. It was the part of my brain that audits ledgers, looking at my life and seeing one massive liability sitting on a bar stool in front of me. "You don't like my kids coming over," I repeated, "to their own home." "I knew you'd get defensive," she said, rolling her eyes. "I'm just setting boundaries. I need a partner who prioritizes my mental peace. I can't be a stepmom and a brand. It's too much." This was the moment the mask slipped. She was not asking to adjust. She was asking me to reduce my kids to visitors in their own lives. "I hear you," I said. My voice was level calm. She smiled, relieved. She thought she had won. She thought I was about to start negotiating my children's presence around her filming schedule. "I'm so glad you understand, babe. It's really for the best. We can have date nights, we can travel, we can." "You're absolutely right," I said, and I cut her off. Boundaries are essential, and priorities are non-negotiable. I walked over to the drawer where we kept the spare keys. I took her spare house key off the hook. "We're breaking up," I said. She froze, the wine glass halfway to her mouth. "What?" "We're done. The relationship is over," she laughed, but it was thin and nervous. "Grant, stop being dramatic. I'm just asking for space and—" "No," I said. "You just asked me to evict my children from their home so you could shoot reels. That's not space. That's a declaration of war against my family. I choose them every single time without hesitation." "You're choosing them over me?" she asked. The entitlement in her voice was not subtle. "I choose their Goldfish over you," I said. "I need you to pack a bag. You can't stay here tonight." The realization hit her. Her expression hardened. "I live here," she snapped. "You can't kick me out. I have rights." "I'm a tenant." "You moved in 6 months ago," I said. "You've never paid rent. You sometimes remember to send money for utilities. You're a guest who overstayed her welcome." "I'm not going anywhere," she said, folding her arms. "This is my home too. I picked out the curtains." "I paid for the curtains," I said, "and the rod and the installation. Look, Tiffany. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. Easy way, you go to your sister's house tonight and we figure out a move-out schedule. Hard way, I start treating you like what you claim to be, a hostile tenant." "I'm staying," she hissed. "And if you try to force me out, I'll call the police and tell them you're abusing me." That was the moment the last bit of affection died. She was not just selfish, she was willing to weaponize lies. "Okay," I said, "you're staying, but things are going to change." I turned the oven off and pulled the lasagna out half-cooked, wrapped it in foil and put it in the fridge. "Where are you going?" she demanded. "To eat dinner," I said. "Alone." I went to a diner. I ate a burger and made a plan. If she wanted to play the tenant rights game, we would play by the book. I do numbers and rules for a living. She had just stepped into my arena. When I got home, she had moved her things into the guest room and locked the door. I locked the master bedroom and slept alone. I did not sleep well, but I knew one thing with total certainty. My kids were coming the next afternoon, and Tiffany was about to learn that aesthetic does not pay the mortgage. The next morning, Wednesday, was day one of the new rules. I woke up early. She was already in the kitchen making a smoothie with my blender and my frozen berries. "Good morning," she said, all breezy. "I decided to forgive you for your outburst. We can talk about the schedule later." "There is no schedule," I said, pouring coffee. "I served you with a formal notice to quit this morning. It's taped to your bedroom door. In this state, since you don't have a lease and don't pay rent, you're an at-will tenant. You have 30 days. The clock started at 6 a.m. She dropped the spoon. "You served me, like legally." "I drafted it, but it's binding," I said. "I took a photo of it on your door with a time stamp." "You're a psychopath," she spat. "I'm a landlord," I said. "Now, about amenities. Since you're claiming tenant rights, we need to be clear about what is included. You pay 0 rent. That gets you a habitable room and access to common areas. It does not get you my personal property." I walked over to the internet router, unplugged it, and picked it up. "What are you doing?" she shouted. "I have to upload a partnership video." "The internet is in my name," I said. "It's not a necessary utility like water or heat. Feel free to open your own account. The provider can probably come out in a couple of weeks." "You can't do that." I just did. "Also, food in the pantry, I bought it. The blender, I bought it. Unless you have receipts with your name, please stop using my appliances." I put the router in my car and went to work. When I came back at 3 with Leo and Sophie, the house was quiet. Tiffany was hiding in the guest room. "Daddy, where's Tiffany?" Sophie asked, dropping her backpack. "She's working in her room," I said. "She's going to be moving out soon, so she's busy packing." "Oh," Leo said. "Can we play Mario Kart?" "Absolutely," I said. We played loud video games, we made popcorn. We laughed. I made sure the volume was high enough to bother someone trying to film mindfulness content, but not high enough to break any rules. Around 5, the guest room door flew open. "Can you keep it down?" Tiffany yelled. "I'm trying to record." Leo and Sophie froze. They are not used to being yelled at in their own home. I stood up and walked between her and the kids. "Tiffany," I said, low and firm, "do not raise your voice at my children. If you have a noise complaint, send it in writing to the landlord. This is a common area." It's 5 p.m., and they're allowed to exist. They're screaming, she said. They're laughing, I replied. Go back to your room. She glared, then retreated and slammed the door. This is the point where a lot of people would have tried to smooth things over for the sake of peace. Sometimes protecting peace means refusing to smooth over what is wrong. That night, I learned how deep her entitlement went. I had installed a lock on the master bedroom door. Around 10 p.m., she started pounding on it. Grant, let me in. I need my face cream. I'm sleeping, I called. You can get it in the morning. It's $300 cream. I need it. You should have thought about that before you became a hostile tenant, I said. The next day, she tried a different angle the utility wore. I came home to find the thermostat set to 85 and the windows open. She was trying to burn money out of spite. I did not yell. I took off the thermostat cover and removed the batteries. Then I went downstairs, put a lock box on the HVAC controls, and set the temperature to a normal 68. Why is the AC off? She demanded later, sweating in her matching workout set. System maintenance, I said. Might take a while, dress light. You're doing this on purpose. I'm managing my property, I said. Then she brought in backup. Friday evening, my phone rang. It was her mother, Linda. Linda is the kind of person who thinks her daughter is a gift and expects the world to treat her that way. Grant, she said, voice cold. Tiffany tells me you are abusing her, starving her, locking her out of rooms. Hi, Linda, I said, putting the call on speaker while I folded laundry. Tiffany is in the guest room, rent-free. She has access to the kitchen and the bathroom. She does not have access to my bedroom or my groceries. If that is abuse, the bar has moved. She says you cut off the internet, Linda pressed. I stopped paying for a service for someone who threatened to lie to the police about me, I said. She can buy a hot spot. She is an adult. You are a petty little man, Linda snapped. She devoted a year of her life to you. She devoted a year to living in a renovated house without bills, I said. She has 23 days left on her notice. If she wants to leave sooner, I will help her pack. Do you have room for her at your house? Silence. Linda did not want her either. We expect you to treat her with respect, Linda said weakly and hung up. Saturday, Tiffany tried petty revenge. I went to use the coffee maker. The sugar jar was full of salt. I went to put on my favorite sneakers. One lace had been cut. I did not confront her. I took photos. I started a spreadsheet called Damages and Deductions. Then I sent her an email. Subject, property damage and small claims. Tiffany, since there is no lease, I cannot withhold a security deposit you never paid. However, I am documenting all damage to my property. Sneakers, $120. Coffee maker cleaning, $15. I will be filing a small claim suit for these damages when you leave. Every item you damage is another line item. I suggest you stop. She did not reply, but the vandalism stopped. We moved from open warfare to a cold legal thriller. We were down to 14 days when she moved to my business. I run a small forensic accounting firm. Trust is everything. Out of nowhere, my business page started getting 1-star reviews. Unprofessional and rude. Do not trust this man with your finances. Discriminatory practices. Hates women. Cheated me out of thousands. They were from accounts with no photos, no followers, names like Sarah 889 and Boss Kurt Tiff Fan. I took screenshots. I checked the timestamps. They were all posted within 20 minutes while Tiffany was working in the guest room. I knocked on her door. Go away, she yelled. Tiffany, open the door, I said. We need to talk about lies. She yanked it open. She looked tired. The glow was gone. What now? She snapped. I see you've been busy on Google reviews, I said, holding up my phone. I don't know what you're talking about, she said, looking away. That's fine. You don't need to admit it. Here's the thing. Saying a forensic accountant cheated you out of thousands is defamation if it's not true. That's a career-ending accusation. I handed her a printed letter. This is a draft cease and desist from my lawyer. If those reviews are not taken down in 1 hour, I add a defamation suit to the small claims. Those damages can go into 5 figures. You have $10,000. You can't sue me for reviews, she said. It's free speech. It's free speech if it's true, I said. It's libel if it's a lie meant to harm my business. 1 hour. I went back to the kitchen. 50 minutes later, the reviews were gone, but she was not finished. A few days later, the police showed up. I was in the backyard with the kids. It was an off week, but I had picked them up for ice cream and playtime. A police cruiser pulled into the driveway. I sent the kids inside and met the officers. "Sir," one said, "we received a call about a domestic disturbance. Report says a woman is being held against her will and denied access to basic necessities." "Officers," I said, "the woman is my ex-girlfriend. I served her with an eviction notice 2 weeks ago. She is free to leave at any time. I would love if she did. She has water, heat, and electricity. She does not have my Wi-Fi password or my credit card." Tiffany came onto the porch, shaking and crying. "He locks me in," she said. "He won't let me eat." "Do you have keys to the house?" the officer asked her. "Yes, but—" "So you can leave," he said. "I have nowhere to go. He's making it hostile." "I have cameras in the common areas," I said. "I can show you footage of her coming and going all week. I can show you full cabinets." The officers looked at her, then at me, then at the calm yard. "Ma'am," the older one said, sounding tired, "this is a civil matter. If you are being evicted, you have to go through housing court. Unless he locks you in a room you cannot get out of or hurts you, we cannot intervene." "But he's mean to me," she said. "Being mean is not a crime," the officer said. "Have a good day." They left. "You charmed them," she shouted at me. "You manipulator." "I used facts," I said. "You use drama, facts win." By now, we were down to about 2 weeks. She tried one more social move. I came home one evening to 3 strangers in my living room drinking my wine. "Oh, he's home," Tiffany said. "Girls, this is the landlord." "Everyone out," I said. "They're my guests," she said. "Tenants are allowed guests." "Right now, as an at-will tenant with no lease," I said, "the default rule applies and I get to set house rules. New rule, no guests without 24-hour written approval. So everyone out or what?" one of the friends said. "You going to call the cops again?" "No," I said. "I'm going to turn off the breaker to the living room and kitchen, and then I'm going to sit in the dark and play bagpipe music on a battery speaker until you leave." I walked to the basement. I flipped the breaker. The lights went out. The music stopped. Then I turned on Scotland the Brave on a portable speaker at full volume. It took 4 minutes before they could not take it anymore. They grabbed their things and left, muttering about how crazy I was. "You are ruining my life," Tiffany screamed in the dark hallway. "You tried to erase my kids," I said over the bagpipes. "This is just noise." The last big moment came when I saw my coffee table on a Facebook Marketplace listing. Vintage mid-century coffee table, $400, pickup only. It was my table in my living room in her photos. I did not report the post. I messaged from a burner. "Interested, can pick up at 6. "Perfect," she replied. I came home at 5:55. She was dragging the table toward the door. "Going somewhere?" I asked. "I was just moving it to clean," she said. "Really?" I said. "Because John will be here in 5 minutes to buy it." Her face dropped. "That's theft, Tiffany," I said. "If you move that table 1 more inch, I press charges. And unlike the police call, I have every message and screenshot tied to your account." She let go of the table. She slid to the floor. "I'm broke," she whispered. "I have no money. You cut me off. I can't afford a new place." "You have a job," I said. "You have a brand." "The brand makes $200 a month," she said. "You paid for everything. I can't live like this." There it was, the truth. She was never a partner. She was a passenger who resented the driver. "That sounds like a you problem," I said. "But since I want you gone, I'll make you a one-time offer. You leave by Sunday, fully. You sign a paper saying you have no claim to this house. I will not sue you for the sneakers, the coffee maker, or the reviews. I will let it go. I'll even pay for a U-Haul directly." "And if I don't?" she asked. "Then I use every screenshot and every receipt and sue you for everything," I said. She stared at the floor. "Fine," she said. "Sunday." Sunday came. I rented the U-Haul and paid the company straight, no cash in her hand. Her friends did not show up. Her mother texted that she had a migraine and could not help. It was just Tiffany dragging boxes out of my house on her own. I sat on the porch with coffee and watched. Not to gloat, but to make sure she did not take anything that was not hers. She tried once. She walked out with a framed print from the hallway. "That's mine," I said. "I bought the frame," she said. "You bought the frame for my print," I said. "Take the frame or leave it. The art stays." She spent 5 minutes struggling with the backing, cursing under her breath, then threw the print on the table and carried off the empty frame. "Keep your stupid art," she muttered. By 2 in the afternoon, the guest room was empty. Her diffusers and throw blankets were gone. The living room was bare of her touches. She stood in the foyer holding a last box. She looked at me like she expected some last-minute regret. "You're going to miss me," she said. "This house is going to be so boring without me." "Boring is underrated," I said. "Leave the key on the table." She slammed the key down. "I hope your kids draw on the walls," she said. "If they do, I'll wipe it off," I said. "Goodbye, Tiffany," she left. She struggled to drive the truck, almost hit the mailbox, then disappeared down the street. I went inside and changed the locks. Then I walked the house. In the guest bathroom, she had poured red nail polish down the sink. It was dried on the porcelain and metal. Classic parting shot. I took a photo and texted her. "Saw the sink. Our agreement said you'd leave the property in broom clean condition with no new damages. You violated the contract. I'm filing a small claims suit for the sneakers, the cleaning, and now a new sink pedestal. Expect the summons at your mother's address." "You said you wouldn't sue me," she replied. "I said I wouldn't sue if you left without issues," I answered. "Vandalism is an issue." Then I blocked her. I filed the paperwork the next day. It is not really about the money. It is about the record. If the next guy ever looks her up, I want something real attached to her name. From a burner account, I checked her social media. She posted a photo of her boxes in her mother's garage. Caption, "Starting over. Sometimes you have to leave toxic environments to find your light. New beginnings. Survivor." Comments were turned off. Wednesday, Leo and Sophie came over. They walked inside. Sophie looked around. "Is the lady gone?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "She moved out." "Can we build a fort in the living room?" Leo asked. "Like a big one with all the cushions." "You can use every cushion in the house," I said. They built a huge, lopsided fort in the middle of the living room. It ruined the aesthetic. It blocked the flow of the room. It looked like chaos. I sat on the floor inside the fort with them and ate pizza. There were crumbs on the rug, pillows everywhere, the kind of scene that used to make Tiffany's eye twitch. "This is cool," Sophie said. "It's cozy." "Yeah," I said, "it really is." For the first time in 6 months, my house felt like a home again. Not a set, not a brand backdrop, a place where my kids could be loud and messy and safe. Tiffany wanted a sanctuary, but she thought sanctuary meant silence and white furniture. She never understood that real sanctuary is where the people who matter most are allowed to exist as they are. She is gone. My kids are here. The foundation held. Lessons from this story. Lesson 1. If someone asks you to reduce your children to background noise in their own home, they are telling you exactly who they are. Lesson 2. Real boundaries protect everyone in the family. Demands that erase your kids are not boundaries. They are ultimatums. Lesson 3. A partner who never contributes but claims tenant rights when you say no is showing you they see your life as a resource, not a shared home. Lesson 4. When someone starts weaponizing lies, social media, or the police to control you, it is past time to get very clear and very firm. Lesson 5. Your house can be cleaned, furniture can be replaced, but your children's sense of safety should never be put at risk for an adult's aesthetic. Lesson 6. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do as a parent is to choose a little more chaos with your kids over a little more peace with the wrong partner. What would you have done the first time Tiffany suggested the kids should only visit every other weekend? Have you ever had to choose between protecting your children's place in your life and keeping a relationship going?